Aliens begged for help. They never expected Deathworlders to answer. The message was desperate. No encryption, no protocol. Just raw, frantic pulses of universal code. It crackled into every receiver in the sector, a scream in the void. Please, anyone. Our sun is dying. Our shields are failing. We can't stop the flares. We need help. Please, someone answer. Most civilizations ignored it. The Council of Ascended Worlds dismissed it with a shrug. The sun in question, Shikaron, had been unstable for centuries. The planet caught in its dying orbit, Corellis IV, was home to a peaceful race known as a Larynn, who hadn't prepared for the inevitable. No ships, no weapons, no colonization. Just hope. Hope was a weak currency in a cold galaxy. So the Larynn waited. They watched their skies crackle with radiation. They huddled beneath flickering shield domes. They sent messages into the stars until their transmitters burned out. And when nothing answered, they began to prepare for extinction. Then, on the 12th night of the final month, the sky above Corellis cracked. Not with flame, not with solar fire, but with thunder. A tear in the clouds opened, and from it descended a black wedge of impossible metal, so vast it eclipsed the morning light. It ignored gravity. It ignored physics. It moved like a god carving its name into the atmosphere. It was a Terran vessel, the Ravager's Mercy. When it landed, more like anchored itself into the crust, the ground groaned beneath its weight. The Larynn, tall and willowy, their skin translucent like river stones, emerged from their bunkers and shelters to stare in mute disbelief. And then the Terrans stepped out. They weren't what the Larynn expected. Where the Larynn were delicate, the Terrans were dense. Muscles coiled beneath armor that looked like it had been patched together from wars no sane being would fight. Their leader, a woman who introduced herself simply as Captain Vera Holt, smiled like a predator but spoke with a strange gentleness. "We got your message," she said. "Came as fast as we could." The high speaker, the Larynn, a trembling being named Cell, barely managed to form the words. We had no hope. We did not think anyone would come." Captain Holt tilted her head. "We're not just anyone. We're from Earth." The word meant nothing to the Larynn. Not yet, but the galaxy knew it well. Deathworlders, they were called, monsters of evolution, bred in a world of hurricanes and volcanoes, of apex predators and viral plagues. A single Terran child could survive conditions that would annihilate an elite adult from most civilized species. And somehow, impossibly, they had built ships. They had left their planet. And now they were here. Captain Holt's crew got to work fast. In 24 hours, they had set up new shielding arrays made from adaptive alloys the Larynn couldn't even understand. They built towering spires that drank radiation and spat it back as usable energy. They reinforced structures with what looked like liquid metal, and they did it all while cracking jokes, listening to music, and eating questionable protein bars. Cell watched in disbelief. "Why are you helping us?" Captain Holt just shrugged. "You asked for help." The Larynn had no currency to pay them, no resources of value, no alliance to offer. Still, the Terrans helped, and then the flares came. Even with the new shields, the solar storm that struck Corellis was beyond anything predicted. The sky turned white. Lightning raked the heavens. The energy surge fried the temporary shield grid and sent seismic ripples across the planet. The Terrans did not run. They charged into the disaster. They carried Larynn children through burning streets, shielding them with their bodies. They stabilized collapsing tunnels with their own bare hands. One engineer, a woman named Cato, dragged a collapsed fusion core back into place and restarted using only a crowbar and a string of unrepeatable curse words. When the storm passed, half the Terrans were injured. One was dead. The Larynn gathered around the body. They wept, but the Terrans didn't mourn the way the Larynn did. They wrapped their comrade in a dark flag, saluted her, and continued working. Days passed, then weeks. The Terrans showed no signs of leaving. They rebuilt the planetary grid. They terraformed small regions to grow food in hardened bunkers. They taught the Larynn how to construct simple defense systems, not because they wanted to militarize them, but because, as Captain Holt put it, You never know what's out there. Still, the Larynn didn't understand. One day, Cell confronted her beneath the glow of twin moons. Why? He asked again. Why save us? What do you gain from this? Vera Holt looked at the sky for a long time. My ancestors fought wars that burned continents. We poisoned our air, killed each other for flags, for fuel, for faith. We nearly destroyed our world more than once. But somehow we clawed our way out. We got better, smarter, stronger, and when we looked out into the stars, we realized something. Nobody helped us. Not once. So when we heard your cry for help, she turned to face him, eyes hard. We decided we'd be the kind of species we wished had helped us. The words hit Cell like a comet, and then came the second message. It didn't come from Corellis. It came from the other side of Shikaron, a mining colony. Unknown, hidden, and under attack. A warlike species, the Krivok, had been monitoring the solar instability. They waited until Corellis was weak and distracted. Then they struck the neighboring outpost, intending to claim it as a forward base. They didn't expect resistance. They didn't know Terrans were in the system. When Captain Holt got the report, she didn't hesitate. She activated the combat wing. Half her crew launched into orbit aboard smaller, faster craft, interceptors and dropships that screamed like dragons across the void. The Larynn begged her not to go. We are peaceful, Cell said. We cannot support war. This isn't war, Holt replied. It's defense. The battle was short. Terrans didn't fight fair. They jammed communications, spoofed signals, and detonated precision bombs that melted Krivok ships midair. On the ground, they moved like predators in a dance. Fast, brutal, efficient. The Krivok fled within an hour. When the Terrans returned, the Larynn expected vengeance. Instead, the Terrans offered food and shelter to the wounded Krivok. You're helping them? Cell asked, aghast. We don't hate them, Holt said simply. We just made it clear they messed with the wrong planet. In time, the Krivok would send diplomats, apologies, reparations. In time, the Larynn would send envoys to Earth. And in time, the story would spread that when a species on the brink of extinction cried out into the void, the monsters of Earth answered, not with conquest, not with trade, not with demands, but with help. Across the stars, the legend grew. The Deathworlders had come, not as conquerors, but as protectors, and the galaxy would never be the same again.